Okay, Earl.
The views expressed on this program are not those of intellectualradio.com, its subsidiaries, or sponsors. Encouraging, educating, and empowering you into this talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. Co-hosting with me is none other than cancer activist, motivational speaker, and the founder of the Gal Foundation, Rizal. Gilmore. Hello, Rizal.
Hello, Lady ReShell. How are you? Hello,
I'm
Warriors
good.
Talk.
Good. I'm excited about the topic today, as always.
Today should be very interesting, as always.
Yes, we are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from Roman with the drive at 5. We're asking that you keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. The show is being sponsored by Emanuel Church of God in Christ, located at 3058 West Grand in Chicago, with Pastor Michael Richardson. And right now they are practicing social distancing, so you can catch the Facebook Live every Sunday at 10:15 a.m. at the Emanuel Cogic site. Our relationship quote of the day is, being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. If you are tuning in from any social media, do me a favor, like, share the show, invite somebody else in on the show so that they can get this information and learn how to have healthier relationships. I'm going to go ahead and bring Rizal back in. So he got lost. Let's see. Can you hear me, Rizal?
I can hear you. That's when the phone rings, that's what happens.
Awesome. All right. So our topic for today is define the ship. And we're talking about relationships on today. So I wanted to talk about define your ship because I heard a talk show with actor Christian Keys, and he was talking about 5 different ships that we need to define when you're dealing with people. So
This is about to be good. I might have to get my pen and pad and listen to the replay.
It's going to be really good. So there are 5 different ships that we need to define. You have associationship, friendship, situationship, penetrationship, and relationship.
Wait a minute, what was the one before relationship?
Penetrationship.
A which ship?
Oh my God. Penetrationship.
Penetrationship?
Yes.
Oh, we're going to need more than an hour for this.
Yes. So those are the 5 ships that people are normally in, and sometimes we don't take the time to define it. So they call it the DTR, define the relationship. And why is it important to define the relationship? So you can know where you're going. Where's this relationship heading? What is our goal for this relationship? If you even want to be with me long term, like some of those things need to be discussed. And so when should they be discussed? When should you talk about where's this relationship going? What's the proper time for you to talk about that?
Really, I would say it's up to the 2 people that's dealing with each other. Because only you 2 are going to know when that you're ready to get into a relationship or something serious, and at what speed and at what pace. I don't put time on it. I don't put, well, you only known this person 2 days, or you only known this person 2 weeks. If you 2 are ready and this is what you both want, then I say, hey, why not? Because you could know somebody for 2 weeks and it worked out perfectly versus somebody that you've known for 2 years and the thing goes south on you. So I don't put time on there. I think it's up to the people when it comes to that part, as far as the relationship and when should people get into it.
Right. I totally agree with you. We shouldn't be comparing our relationships to another relationship. Everybody should be moving at their own pace and having those conversations with their own partners to determine where we're going from here. And if you're trying to base it on what somebody else is doing, you're going to always be disappointed because their bond may be stronger than yours. Their history may be stronger than yours. So you can't really base it on what somebody else is doing in their relationship.
Correct. And I know my mother always told me that when you are single, that a person should be preparing for what it is that they want. So if you want marriage, you want to be a wife, you need to start to begin doing those wife things, preparing yourself to be a wife for whoever it is that you end up with. So, that alone time, that single time before the relationship is very valuable.
It really is. Some people say, "How are you going to be a wife before you actually become a wife?" You can learn. You can learn what a wife is supposed to do. You can sit under somebody who's married and have a successful marriage to find out, what it is that a wife is supposed to do to make the marriage last. And so when your husband finds you, as they say, he finds you as his wife. When he meets you in the back of the man's mind, he already know. Okay, after maybe spending some time with you, this is gonna be my wife. So he's finding you as a girlfriend, but he's looking at you as a wife. So you have to be operating in that in order to be found that way.
Yeah, because a lot of women, they say, why you keep looking at me? And I tell them, I'm not looking at you, I'm looking into you, because I'm trying to decide if I can spend the rest of my life with you. I'm trying to see if I can put up with your mess within this short time that I discovered, because a man knows. He knows who he can deal with and what he can do and what he can get away with and at what point and where he wants you in his life. So he's going to make a way if you are the one.
Say that again. He's gonna do what?
A man is going to make a way if you are the one.
Wow. So there's not going to be any doubt. He's not going to leave you wondering, asking everybody else. You'll know.
You'll know.
When the time is right, you'll know.
And I've seen it happen with quite a few couples, actually. For example, there was a pastor. He was in a mall. He passed this woman and told his boy, he said, hold on, my wife just passed me. He met the young lady and sure enough, he married her. And after about, how long they've been married now? After about, I think 30 years or so, they're still married. They only dated for like 2 weeks. Or I think he asked her that the very first date, he asked her to marry him. And he was for certain about that whole thing.
When you know, and some people don't they don't want time to slip away to when they can spend time with that person. I know a lot of people that have lost their spouses young, and you like, how long have y'all been together? Like since high school, but they're in their 40s or they're in their 50s. Like, okay, you did grow old together, not just grow old that we think that you're supposed to grow old with a person. So you know what it is that you want in a partner, so that you won't be wasting time. I think we waste a lot of time when we're younger because we're thinking we have time. So we can waste time with people. Then as you get a little older, you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to play games. I don't want to waste no time. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
But I think within that time, I found a lot of women, because again, I think we stated this plenty of times on this show before, that a lot of women, they have that checklist that they're looking for. And when a guy don't check all those boxes on the list, now time is beginning to run out. So now they're starting to accept a little bit more than what they did beforehand. And now you're like 50 years old and Farmer Bill is starting to look real good to you now, because it seemed like he's settled, he's this, and now you're kind of you're hitting the panicking button now. Because like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm this age and I'm still not married yet. Or I still can't believe that I'm not in a relationship, because you're looking for the perfect guy and that perfect guy doesn't exist. So you're going to keep looking and looking forever. And by that time, you'll be dead and you'll be ashes and bones by that time.
Wow. It reminds me of this meme where this lady is a skeleton and she says she's waiting for Mr. Right. And she waited so long that, she's in her grave. She's with maybe not knowing exactly what it is that you want, or should I say what you need? Because a lot of times it'd be what we want, but if you get in the things that you need, then some of those wants that come along with it. So you just got to know what you want. So let's talk about associationship. Like when you're associated with somebody, you don't necessarily know them in depth or anything like that. You might have met them through somebody. You might have been at a party and it was a friend of a friend and they introduced you. So then y'all hooked up and y'all haven't discussed anything. It was just an attraction. So some people fall into that, and then one person is like, okay, we've been seeing each other, we've been seeing each other, you know, what's going on here? Like, there's really nothing. You will know really up front what's going on, what a person wants. You'll know what.
So that associationship, would you say that's like friend zone?
Not necessarily. Because a friend zone is probably somebody you already know that maybe try to come at you and you're like, oh no, you know, you leave them as a friend. If I don't know you, then you get to know the person before you friend zone. You're not really trying to get to know anybody. You just hooked up because they are a friend of a friend.
Well, that's because I hear some people say, I don't have friends, I have associates, because everybody ain't your friend.
That's true. Everybody is not your friend.
Partners to determine.
Hold on. I'm gonna do. Give me 1 second. I want to start a Facebook party so that other people can get in on this information. And I'm trying not to get feedback. So I apologize.
And I do remember they said they wanted to call in this week also.
I'm going to invite other people in on this subject. Again, we're talking about define the ship, and we're talking about relationships, associationships, friendships, situationships, penetrationship, and just regular relationships. And we've all been in this situation. I'm hoping we all haven't been in all the situations, but majority of the situations, I'm sure we have been in those situations with different people, trying to figure out what's going on and why we're in this situation. Why have I been dating you for 7 months and I don't know what's going on? And some people will tell you up front. I had a girlfriend that was dating this guy, and he told her up front, I don't want a relationship. You know, I don't want to get married. I don't want a relationship. And she was like, okay, you know, and she stuck around there. And then she started having these heavy feelings for him. And then all of a sudden, you know, she went to ask him, where's this going? And he was like, I told you from the beginning. What is this going?
But she thought that she can change his mind later on if she showed him something different, but his mind was already made up of what he wanted. So, I mean, it was good that he told her up front so there wouldn't be no expectations. Well, we would assume there wouldn't be no expectations on her part, but obviously when two people spend enough time along with each other, I believe, and this is just my interpretation, that somebody's going to develop some feelings, especially if they're doing things together, or you're sleeping together, whatever the case, something is going to erupt in you and say, hey, I'm really feeling this person. This is mine.
You would think, right? You would think. He stayed there for about, I want to say about 4 or 5 years, just, you know, going out with him, hanging out, just doing things together, even getting involved in, you know, business decisions that she was making, you know, and she's thinking, okay, you know, he's in here, you know, but at the end of it, when she wanted the relationship, you know, it wasn't so. So I think we should listen to people when they tell us, like, don't just be like, okay, yeah, I hear you, but really listen to understand what people are saying so that we won't be put in this position of, oh, well, you know, I thought we was going somewhere, you know, we've been spending all this time together, when they told you up front. Even their actions will tell you. If they don't say anything, you know, if they're calling you at 2 o'clock in the time they call you, and you know that, you know, they work a 9 to 5 job, you already know you're a penetrationship. So it's like, it's not really, you know, it's not rocket science.
Right. And then too, you know, you got to look at what men are doing. It's really easy to decipher us. If a man, let me tell you, if a man is asking your opinion about something, you women don't understand the compliment that he just gave you.
Okay. So what is that?
Anytime a man, if he starts to look towards your opinion or get your advice on things, that is a compliment above compliment. Because now he's looking at you in a whole nother light, because now he's starting to value you a whole lot more.
So you should take that as, oh, wow, okay, you know.
If he's including you and stuff, then he's trying to take this to a whole nother level.
Okay, ladies, I hope y'all hear that. Okay, so let's talk about friendship. You talked about being friend zone.
Yes. I think I'm still sitting in the friend zone somewhere with some people. Look, I'm growing old and gray with skeleton bones in friend zones somewhere. Somewhere, somebody, I'm in friend zone.
So how do you even get out of that friend zone? I know a lot of people that sit around and wait on people, wait on individuals, just pretend like they're their friends, and they're waiting for the opportunity to kind of like, get in there when they break up, and and then they still get friends. They still
I mean, you're talking being friends in the friend zone before the relationship or friend zone after the relationship?
No, this is no relationship. You trying to be
No relation. You're trying to be in the relationship, but you're a friend zone from this person.
correct.
Well, I have learned in my years when, and I think this is we said this before, that you can be single but not available, because a lot of women aren't ready to get into something because they're still trying to find a logical reason on what happened in the past relationship. So now you're putting your past in your future, and that's screwing everything up. And so many women miss opportunities. They miss the man who could be totally the man of their dreams, but because of this past that they're holding, because of this list that they're holding, and of course, amongst other things, it's starting to water down on their dreams. And it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to get anybody. Nothing's never going to happen to me. God, why haven't you brought this, this guy to me? And it's simple. He has, but you keep calling him a friend.
Okay, so if God brought the person to you, I would just believe that it would be something that he would confirm for you, that this person is the one. Like, I don't think you would have to think really hard about that person being the one. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but what's the confirmation? Like, I don't want to hear like, oh, you got the same birthday as my father. That's the sign. I see it. I don't want that's not the sign. Oh, we like the same football team. Oh my God, he's the one. Girl, let me tell you, he like the. Yeah, nah.
No, it would have to be. I mean, it would have to be something like really solid for you to be like, okay, this is the one. And I look at my daughter and her husband when they got together. You knew right away that it was going to be something, because number one, they were both in the church. He was an elder. She's really into her faith, so she was, putting herself in a situation so that she could be found by a man of God, a man in the church. So she just stayed active in the church, and doing things. He ended up seeing her. He ended up seeing her just worshiping God, and that's how they ended up meeting. So I think you have to really put yourself in a position to meet the person that God has for you. I don't think that God is going to be like, that's the person right there, him, yeah, with the blue hat on. God is not going to do that. Now, God may allow him to cross your path, but then ultimately it's up to you to cultivate that relationship.
But that could happen, because remember my story, I told you about the pastor, and the lady passed him by and he said, that's my wife. He didn't know her from a can of paint, but he said, that's my wife.
But do you know how many men say that? How many men use that line on women, and we're sick of hearing it? We're sick of hearing it. So if you tell me that, it's going to have to be an act of God to say that's him, because we hear it all the time from men. Trust me, sometimes on a daily basis, and you get tired of hearing it.
Oh, I believe you. And I'm sure that used to be part of the game. So we can get ourselves into that penetrationship that we're going to talk about later on down the line. But nothing good is going to come from that, because one, what I liked about you, your daughter and her husband, they shared the same interests. And a lot of people don't share the same interests. And for them, that was the connection for them. You can have chemistry and not have a connection. So you need that connection. A lot of people are missing the connection, especially when it comes to relationships. If you take the first part of relationships, it's relate. How do we relate to each other? How can, what do we have in common? What common interests do we share? And people miss that part, and they just jump straight to number 4. And then after it's all over, you may be in friend zone.
Because we have sex in common. Because you don't really take the time out to figure out what else you have in common, because you're so busy having a sex. And I say it all the time, sex is powerful. So when you trying to make a decision, you really can't. Now, women, we feel like if we gave you our body, we feel like, okay, I just gave him my body. That's something big. So now I'm going to make this thing work because I don't want to make it seem like, I'm out here, hopping from man to man. So you're going to try to stick with this person and make it work since you done already gave him, a piece of you.
That's very true. Mother always told me when you're with a woman and y'all have that intimacy together, you take a part of her with you all the time. And you also give a part of her to you. But that's also something that needs to be discussed in these relationships or whatever. Sex is a big thing. It means a lot in a relationship for a lot of people. I is one of them. But I also heard that men and women need to discuss their needs and wants when it comes to sex. And a lot of people don't do that. And then what that happens is it causes a separation. It causes a disconnect because, oh, well, he's not meeting my needs. I'll go somewhere else and get it. Someone who's going to listen to me, someone who's going to touch me in these places and so on and so on. And that's how you start to drift to grow apart from that person.
And I think those are people, like you said, at the beginning, you're supposed to be getting to know each other and talking about what it is that we're doing here. Is this going to be a situationship? Is it going to be a friendship? And some people know at the beginning, but people are deceitful, so they're not going to be like, "Hey, yeah, this is what it is," because then they know that they're not going to get what they want from you. Brenda said, "That's good about your daughter." Thanks for listening, Brenda. Thanks for listening, Mark. I appreciate you and Rick and came from. Talk show. So yeah, some people, I think you have to have some type of discernment when you're dealing with people, because if you don't, then you're going to be running through people, like coins at a store, because you're not going to take the time out to find out what their true motives are. And people, you cannot act for a long time. The representative is not going to stay there for a long time. They only could do it for so long, and then the real them will come out. So you just got to be like, okay, if you take the time to sit and get to know that person eventually, it's going to come out. You gotta be patient, but we be so much in a rush that we don't want to take the time to get to know a person. We want to hurry up and rush a person to define the relationship when we haven't even gotten to know that person. So that's one thing that we should do before we even ask a person, what is this? Have you even gotten to know that person? What do you know about this person? For you to say, are they ready for me? Conversations that you've had, but we don't communicate.
Correct. And that's big when it comes to relation is the communication. Like I need to be able to tell you what it is on my mind without being criticized and judged, unless it's good, good criticism or whatever, because that's part of the communication. If I tell you I don't like something, I don't like something. If I tell you I love this, then I love this. But some people take it to heart and be like, oh, well, you don't like it anyway. But hey, but that's just my opinion. I'm letting you know up front and letting you know up front about what it is, because this is the way that we're going to mature and this is the way we're going to grow. And I believe that will be a compromise.
Yeah. You got to get to that point. Okay, so we talked about, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about define the ship, and we're talking about relationships. And we gave 5 different types of ships, which are associationship, relationship, situationship, penetrationship, and relationship. And somebody, you may just be, just out there to have a good time, and you may not even be trying to look for the one. And if that's the case, then, most people probably not going to be upfront and say that, and then if they do say it, like I said before, you're not going to hear it because you're so busy, like, oh, girl, I found the one. You're on the phone talking to your friends. Yeah, I done found the one. You planning your wedding already, and you're not even taking the time to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, but you're just happy to have somebody. You're just happy that somebody's there, somebody noticed you. You're happy that somebody's giving you that convenience of companionship at the moment, and you're happy about that. So you could have your blinders on from everything else because you just focus on the one thing, like, hey, I got me a man.
So according to, I found an article on Elite Daily, and Elena Rubin talked about the different types of things that you can talk to somebody to ask them about finding a relationship. So the first one I was getting to know them. And then the second one was open the conversation on a right note. Don't come to them and be like, you know how some women, we have this really bad. We'd be like, we need to talk. And once you say that, the man just kind of like shut down, like, oh, I don't want to hear nothing she got to say. Whatever she got to say, it is not going to be good. So you can't tell a man, we need to talk. And I remember that I wanted to get that effect out of this guy. So that's what I told him. I'm like, we need to talk. And so because I wanted him to know that this is really important, but you should never say that. You should never say, we need to talk. You have to feel like a sandwich. You come in with some positive.
Man, let me tell you, when men hear that we need to talk, that's just like knocking the oomph just right out of your day. You sitting there biting your nails, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? What do we need to talk about? Or can we just make it more simpler instead of saying we need to talk? How about, hey, this Friday, if you're not busy, let's get together, let's talk. Let's chat it up and then put whatever's on the table. Unless it's something more serious than that, then you need to do it like right then and there. Then in trouble. You better start clicking in your head like, oh shoot, what's going on now?
Okay, so the next one is literally have the conversation about defining a relationship. And this is after you've gotten to know that person, y'all been talking for a while, so y'all been communicating to know what this person wants. And then you can have that conversation about, okay, you can have a good time, I'm really enjoying your company, what you want to do, your dreams, what you want to do, and then incorporate that person in there. I don't like to say where is this going because one of my questions is where do you see me in your future, or do you even see me in your future? I mean, that would tell you right away. If they see you, they're gonna either say yes or no, or they're gonna say, you know what, I do, but I don't know what role you play. I don't know, exactly where, but I know you somewhere in there.
But you got to listen to the man because he's going to tell you everything that it is. You could say, hey, where's this going? He could say, what is your intent? He could say, yes, I want to get married. It doesn't necessarily mean that he wants to marry you. He wants to get married, but it may not be you. So you got to pay attention. Now, this is the one time that I say you got to listen. You got to read the details and the fine print. Because now you're thinking like, oh my God, he wants to get married. He wants to marry me. No, slow down. No.
You have to know how to ask your questions. Don't with men, you gotta ask a direct question. You cannot ask a question that you plan on marrying me is the question. You plan on marrying me in the future is the question. Not do you plan on getting married. You gotta be direct with the man, then that way he can't wiggle his way out of the question. And you have to make sure that it's directed towards him, so he has to answer it. And a lot of times women, we don't do that. We don't even ask the question correctly. So we don't get the answers that we need. And then we pulling off of what he said, trying to make it fit the situation.
But asking a man a direct question, you putting him on the spot. He's probably more than likely he's gonna probably shy away, or he's going to try to reflect that question like, wait a minute, you're asking me if I'm going to marry you and it got to be within this certain amount of time. And then it starts to click like, hold on, wait a minute, I didn't even think about that, just yet. It's like, hold on, you trying to trap me? You trying to give me you trying to push me towards this thing? Like, no.
That's a man who does not want, who's not right for you and does not plan on being with you. If it's a man who's on the up and up and that's what he wants to do, even if it's not within the next 6 months to a year, like, oh yeah, babe, those are in my plans. Marrying you is in my plans. It's in my plans, and I have a timeline when I want to do X, Y, Z. This is what I'm working on. He's not going to be intimidated. If he wants to marry you, he's not going to be intimidated. He's not going to. Those are the guys who play games, and they know they don't want to be there, so they're not going to give you the right answer. They're going to beat around the bush to keep you coming over there, giving them sex. We fall for it all the time.
You almost sound like you trying to say we trying to bamboozle you out of the coochie.
Trust me, I know just about every game because I played the games myself. I played the same games that was played on me. I went and played it right back on another man. So yeah, I mean, been there, done that. It's like, you know what? Right now, if you playing games, what I do is I just fall all the way back and I just disappear. You don't have time for it. You know when somebody is playing games. You know when somebody is not serious with you. But we have this sometimes low self-esteem. We figure like, oh, he's the only person that he has this. No. You are still worth something. Believe me, the person that's meant to have your heart, they're not going to care about all your flaws. They're not going to care about any of the XYZ. They're not going to have these issues. It's gonna work through. Everything is gonna fall into place. I think I'm not gonna have any issues going on, but it's gonna fall in place if you're right there willing to work with you. Only the ones that are playing games are not. They're gonna end up all kinds of excuses.
Well, this is why it's important when you do meet a person, and this is why I said when I look at women and then I look into women, that's when I know, because what if y'all having penetrationship and she gets pregnant? This is why we got all these baby mamas out there, because she really wasn't all that to you to begin with. You just wanted to have sex with her.
Right.
And now you're stuck in this, now you're stuck in a situationship with her and with a child. So even just looking, because then you start to find all of those flaws and stuff with like, she really wasn't all that anyway. She's not really the woman of my dreams. I don't really see myself with her. I just wanted to smash, hit, whatever the terminology is these days with these young kids, with these young whippersnappers. And yeah, now you find yourself in probably about all 5 of those ships, except for the relationship, the one that you was aiming for.
Wrap it up. Stop penetrating in any and everything just because you have it to do. Stop it. There's no baby mamas without baby daddies. Somebody is getting that person pregnant. So stop allowing these men to enter you without using protection. And look at it as, and I wish I could go back 20, 30 years. Look at it as though, do I want this man to be my baby father? Is he even a good father? Look at the way he's treating his other kids. He probably ain't seen them kids in 10 years, but now you pregnant bound and you think it's going to be different with you? No. He's going to keep up the same exact way. When he's done with you, he's done with you. Stop getting into these ships and you don't know where this relationship is going. Ask the uncomfortable question. If he's uncomfortable, oh well. If he's on the up and up, and he's going to tell you the answer. He's not going to be deceiving. But because we're too afraid to ask the question, we're too afraid to rock the boat because we think we're going to lose him, let him go. Find out early versus finding out you've been with him 10 years and he don't want to get married. Ask the questions now. So
yeah, but again, that goes back to communication. Some women may not want to communicate that to the men because, again, they might think it's too early to ask that type of thing. Or, you know, I guess as you get older and you mature, you know, things is a little bit different, you know, compared to when we were much younger. So the younger generation, you know, I try to tell them, I've been in this situation. I've gone through all of this. So why not let me give you the shortcut on how to get to finding what you really want?
The younger generation is asking up front, baby. They not like us. They're asking up front, what is this? All right. Then they telling the people what they're gonna deal with it. That's our generation. Brenda said the same way that a man trips when the ladies say we need to talk. That's the same way for ladies. If a man say yes,
say yes, I'm going to be married.
And they could say that. Oh, am I still going in and out, Brenda?
I think when you move away from the microphone.
You know, Rizal has an old soul, so Rick, he probably did say whip snapper. He probably did, because you know Rizal has an old soul, so he probably said whopper snapper. He did. So if you just this is Warriors Talk on Intellectual Radio with Lady ReShell and Biz, and we're talking about defining your relationship. Talk about 5 different ones. If you find yourself in any of those relationships, you need to be talking to that person, having these conversations to let them know you want to know where's this relationship going. Don't allow people to waste your time. Don't allow people to get you so wrapped up that you're walking on eggshells that you're afraid to ask somebody, where's this relationship going? And you just land in this relationship for years and you're not getting anything you want because you haven't communicated to that person what it is you want. Take that chance and say, hey, I'm not saying go in there 2 months, you've been in a relationship 2 months and you and that talking about where we going. Because really y'all ain't going nowhere because y'all don't even know each other. But take the opportunity to ask that person, where's this relationship going? And again, if it's not going anywhere, you have not lost anything, especially if you haven't slept with them. You haven't lost anything. And that's how women feel. If we haven't slept with you, then we don't even care. It's like, all right, I haven't done anything, so I haven't lost anything, so you haven't conquered this, so you can go. You gotta, ladies, don't be afraid to upfront and be like, you know what? I have all my ducks in a row. This is where I want to be at a certain time. And not that you have to give a man a deadline, but have your own silent deadlines. You don't have to tell him, oh, you got to marry me within a year, or you have to do this within 2 years. Have your own silent deadlines that you need. And if you can't meet those deadlines, don't be afraid to move on. Don't be afraid to fall all the way back. And don't be afraid to entertain other people. If he wants to, he's going to lock it down. He's not going to give another man a chance to slip in there. He's going to lock it down.
But what about the women with what you just said about, don't be afraid to date, which I understand. If you're dating, you're dating. You could be dating multiple guys, and that's fine because you're searching, you're looking for the right one. You're dating with a purpose. So if the one guy is playing, he's playing games or, he just doesn't seem that interested, but you also got to think, are you giving him something to be interested in? Because I believe that is 80% of the man should chase and the woman should give at least 20% for him something to chase or hunt, as they say.
Normally when women get into a relationship, we don't try to entertain more than men. If we're into that man, especially if we have had sex with that man, we really can't function trying to deal with 2 men at one time. We don't operate like that. If you have a mind, you have me sexually, then you have me. Another man can't say nothing to me. Now, for women, it's different because y'all don't look at it that way. It's you see what you like, I want that. It's sexual for y'all. So, and you go and conquer that. For a woman, it's not that easy. We're not trying to entertain 2 and 3 men at a time. Now, maybe if a woman, maybe she feel like, hey, I don't want to see nobody right now, so that's what I'm doing. Then you have women out there that do that. But the majority of the women, we don't try to date and have sex with more than one person. If you're my one partner, we're not trying to have more than one partner. We're not. We're focusing on you. We're putting all our energy into you. We're not trying to split that up. Although
and I believe because that's how I roll. If we're having intercourse, we're having sex, then I'm only having sex with you. I don't like multiple partners because I want to make sure I'm giving my all to you. Every bit, every drop, everything. Now, if you go in this, you mess this up because you don't understand where I'm trying to go with the whole thing, then you're bad. Because part of that relationship, as I said, half of it is relate. The other half is ship. Ship is something that is supposed to take you somewhere. It's a voyage. So don't ever be with a man that can't take you nowhere. And a lot of women get into these relationships that's not going nowhere.
You need to find a man that can lead you. Let me just say this.
But you got to be able to let them lead, because a lot of women, because we had this topic before about is your independence. A lot of women won't let them lead. Let the man be a man because they want to wear the pants too. Both of y'all can't wear the pants.
Exactly. Both of them can't wear pants, but you don't let everybody lead you. Just because he's a man, that doesn't mean he's qualified to lead you, because half of them can't even lead themselves. So you have to make sure you find somebody that can really lead you. You look at how they're leading their own life. Look at how they got their stuff lined up. And are they disciplined? Are they following through? If they have kids, other kids, are they taking care of them kids? What is their relationship like with their family? Are they, have multiple jobs to where they just every 6 months they in another job? No commitment. Look at that. So you don't, just because he's a man, that don't mean you allow him to lead. Now you're leading. I need to see a pattern. I need to see what have you led so far, and it's been successful. Know that with leading me, it's gonna be successful. It's gonna be successful. If I know if I'm in it, we work it together, it's gonna work. But I need to see your track before I just say, hey, lead me. Here you go.
But you could give a woman all those things, and she still go and start playing those games. She's still unsure. There's still some uncertainty with that woman because she still feels as though that there could be something out there better. And when you look for better, you only end up with something worse. So why not just put yourself in? I'm reading the comment, a little bit of the comment, what Rick is saying, but why not just, put that effort in, put that work in with somebody and figure it out from there.
You know what, Rick McCain, I'm talking about the brothers that have integrity and that knows what they want and they're honest, like you and some of the other brothers out here. Everybody is not like that. We all know some brothers who out here are playing games with women. We know that. And we know a lot of brothers that are not capable of leading. And if you have a woman, if you have a great woman, sometimes all you need is that great woman to help push you to a certain level.
Exactly.
There's a woman right there. Look at Barack Obama. There's a woman right there helping, pushing that man to be as great as he is. I look at my pastor and first lady. I see the work that she does in the background. And when he's out there, he's great. He's great because of what she's doing in that background. And he's great because of that. So you have to find somebody too natural that you can be good with. So this is not down on all the brothers. That's just all the brothers who don't have their stuff together and they want somebody to follow them. And if that's you, get your stuff together and somebody will follow you.
Nah, that's it. Nah, Rick, let Lady ReShell speak because this is something that needs to be heard. Like these are the conversations. This is why we have Warriors Talk, because these are the conversations that need to be held, that need to be heard by people. And it becomes the pink elephant in the room because we don't have them. So we need to hear what these women are saying, just like women need to hear what men are saying and what our reasons are. Behind every great man, there was a great woman. That's why we have the Michelle and Barack Obamas.
I don't want to be one of those women who, somebody told me that men kind of watch what women put on their page. So if you're constantly putting on your page, like a bunch of negative stuff all the time about relationships and stuff, they say men watch that. Men watch it and then they tend to stay away from your page. So they feel like you're not approachable because you're always, being like a banter when it comes to, how people this, my husband to be this. So, I tend to kind of watch what I put up because you don't want to step on no toes. I don't want men to think, okay, she's not approachable. All she do is, downgrade men when no, I just want you to be able to be your best self, to do what you're supposed to do and not put me down in the process because you ain't where you're supposed to be. So,
But guess what? That's exactly why she don't have one. You can't, what's the saying? You can't expect a king. No, you can't expect a king if you're treating him like a peasant. You can't be a queen if you're treating a guy like he ain't nothing, putting him down. That's exactly why she's single. And she's out there bashing. She sounds like the man. Yeah, let her be. She'll get it together in 20 years.
I think that men need to get thick skin. Y'all need to get thick skin. And I know I heard this guy said men are emotional too. Y'all think that men are not emotional. And I know that y'all are emotional and y'all feel stuff that we feel, but it's only that certain people see it, right? Or only certain people see it. And it's the saying that, you can dish it, but you can't take it, Once it's dished to you, then, oh God, you run in the corner because your feelings hurt. Just be upfront with somebody. If you want to be in a situationship, then you say that. You may be surprised who wants to be there with you. If you want to be in a penetrationship, seriously, there may be some people who don't even want to be connected with the man in any other way. They may say, okay, I just service you in that way. But open your mouth and be honest. But because we have not a lot of men, some men who are being dishonest and just leading women on, and then you have women falling for it because they're hanging on to every word that this man is telling them. And really, I don't want to say investigating, but having that discernment to sit back and say, is he really on the up and up? And we expect for God to just knock us on our head and be like, girl, he lying. When you know already, you were born with it. You were born with it already. So So, no, you crazy. Good day on there. You just saw this man right here in the car where you looked dead in his eye, and he told you that wasn't me. What? Yeah, that was him. Next time you take a picture or you do a video so you can show it that, yeah, that was me. I thought. We start, taking away from our own intelligence because we want to be with somebody. And we were born that way. Women were born, for some reason, they have this in us. It was made in us to be married. You go to school, you get out of college, you get a job, you get married, you have kids, you grow old with this person. And most women, think that way. And we're looking for that. That's what we want. We're positioning ourselves for that. And along the way, we run into some frogs. We have to kiss all of these frogs before the prince or the king actually pop up. And sometimes you get tired of kissing the frogs and you're just like, you know what? I don't want to kiss somebody else. I'm just going to go in my corner and not even be bothered with anybody. Or you settle for those ships, those different ships other than a relationship.
Shoot, we might have a new word. What you call it? The entanglement ship.
That's a different one. That's a situationship. It's because that's really all you're doing, because you can't go no further than that.
Well, I think a lot of women, because seeing their mothers, because there's been an absentee of fathers in the household, that most women have learned to live without a man than to actually learn how to live with a man. So that becomes a whole nother unbalanced scale between the two, because
I don't know, because I'm a single mom and I have girls in my household. There's no male in my household. I'm divorced. So I talk to my girls about being married. I talk to them about doing it the right way. I talk to them about waiting until they get with their husband to, give their virginity to, not to be running around having all these babies by these different men, and you're like, okay, who's my baby daddy? Oh, he don't want to be with me. And now you chasing him, trying to get child support. I talk to them about doing it the right way and wanting to be with a man. I'm not in my household, and most single moms are not. They're not bitter at this. They're not in their households teaching their kids, we don't need no man in the house. We're gonna do this by ourselves. No. This is what mommy can only do so much. I still can't do the job that a man does. I perform like a mom. I don't try to perform like a mom and a dad, because I can't.
But it happens, and it's going on these days. But again, that's generation, because they didn't see no man in the house, so they're not going to understand when it comes to a man being in the house on what to do or what it is, because a lot of them was just raised that way. It's the same thing with our men. We can't raise our boys to be men in the community if they're not seeing men in the community. That's just the way it is.
In the community. Get in the community and teach these men, these boys out here that's doing these drive-bys, that's shooting these kids, taking the lives of these innocent people that's out here trying to open an ATM machine, looking straight in the camera, and now you got a felony on you. Come on. A lot is men who I'm gonna call them males and not men. Okay.
That's why we gotta have that relationship with. See, again, relationship with your kids, your son, your daughters, or whatever the case. When I go talk to schools, and I give them this example, and I tell them 265/1/25, and they look at me like, what is that? It sounds like a tire size, but I tell them no. I went to 265 funerals in 1 year with kids under the age of 25. That is a big number. And if we don't start teaching these kids on what it is to be an adult, and that this shoot 'em up, bang, bang, die slow in the streets selling drugs, and stop idolizing just basketball players and drug dealers and stuff like that, this generation is going to be lost. I'm scared. I'm worried, because that's all we're going to have. They glorify those things because that's all what they see. You look on TV, that's what you see. Movie theaters, that's what you see. So it's hard to explain to them, like, hey, look, you don't see engineers and doctors standing on the corner. So it becomes very hard.
some men had a man in the home, but he isn't working like a man to help the child become a man. That's true. Some people are not really hands on with the child, going to the basketball games, going up to the school. They just from the parent. It seems like we're having these kids, but then we're too busy to parent them. And then when they go out ahead and get into trouble, or somebody taking their lives, then we want to go, or we want to march in the streets, but we should be marching right now for our babies. But we're doing other things.
Yeah, your mic is still going in and out.
We're too busy doing other things. I don't understand why, as a mother, because I hope y'all can hear me. As a mother, like, we don't have the opportunity where we can just walk away from our kids and let somebody else raise them. Normally, the woman stays and the man walks away, and it's like, I don't understand. I'm not a man, so I don't understand how you can have a seed out there and you're not trying to just figure out, okay, she want to take care of it. Or sometimes when we break up with the person, we break up with the kids, and the kids suffer in the process. It's like, just because we broke up, that don't mean that you stop being a parent to your kids.
Well, because nowadays you need two people. The way prices are, you need two people in a household, and we're just so busy trying to keep a roof over our head and bring in income so we can keep food on the table, that we're overlooking those football games or those cheerleading practices because we're too tired, or we got to go to job number 5, or whatever the case, and we're not paying attention to our kids, and we're letting our kids being raised by the street. And that's no place for our kids to go, because what they're going to learn later on in life, them streets don't love you. Them streets do not love you at all. And then what do? They come back running home, mommy, daddy. That's the first phone call they make when they get in trouble.
Yeah, and you should leave the option open for them to call you, so in case they can't go nowhere else, they should call home. I knew we was gonna run out of time because just some
Oh, I said that from the very start.
really good, so I knew that we were gonna run out of time. So, do you have any final words with all on this?
Man, are we really out of time? Did we get through all the ships?
Yeah, well, we know what a penetrationship is. It's a booty call. They just calling you up to have sex. You don't have anything else going on. And a relationship is, things have been defined. You have had the conversation, and you both have agreed on how you're going to move forward in that relationship.
Okay, well, Warriors Talk, we thank you for tuning in as usual. I love my audience. I love you, Lady ReShell. I love this forum and this platform that we always put forth every single Monday here, Monday night on Intellectual Radio. And my final words I would have to say, um, make sure you love yourself before loving anybody else.
Self-love is so priceless. I'll leave you guys with this. I have 3 things. The first one is, you are entitled. If you're in a relationship, you are entitled to know where that relationship is. You are entitled to how that person want to move forward with you, and then you are entitled to walk away if it's not where you wanted to go. So don't stay somewhere where you're not wanted, because the heart that's meant to love you is going to love you regardless. So next right here, selection is you're changing lives for it.
I don't think they can hear you.